Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Of course, Agnes and I are doing off our second volume here, as you can probably tell from the title of this particular one. We're coming in with, that was Bruno Mars doing Just the Way You Are, and you're perfect just that way. In this particular show, we're going to be talking about kind of a little bit more about us, about her and I, some of the fun that we've had in life, and some of the great dishes we've been served and learned to deal with, and probably explains a lot of why we enjoy doing what we do. A lot of people kind of wonder, we're just wired to help and enjoy it, and so we talk a lot about this. So hopefully you enjoy it. It's Dan Radio Style. We'll be closing back out here in just a moment, so please enjoy. Let me ask you something kind of off topic completely, but I still think it's germane, because someone had asked, and I sort of speculated recently about what really got you into this whole path, this whole lifestyle, this whole thing. Was it the law of attraction? Was it manifesting, or was it more of kind of like a spiritual awakening kind of, I don't know. What do you feel comfortable talking about?
No, I'm happy to talk about it. I had, I was 19, 20, and I had moved from Canada because my parents were living in Canada on Vancouver Island then. And my boyfriend at the time, we were together 4 years, and I had moved to Australia. My parents forced me to move before I turned 18 so that obviously I wouldn't stay in Canada. And he decided to do the horizontal cha-cha with my girlfriend while I was away. So that was my first hit with a brick in the back of the head without seeing that coming.
Right.
So that was the first hit. And then the second hit was the second boyfriend I'd had for 7 years decides to get a female flatmate, and then he starts seeing her behind my back. So I thought, what's going on here? Why do I keep picking, at first I was still thinking, I'm just picking the wrong men. Then the third one I married, who was Australian, and then he had sex with a man.
Oh, well, you were transitioning, make it sound like this is the same pattern. I mean, look at that.
Exactly.
You were taking it to the next level. That was beautiful.
Exactly. And then he decided to go and visit. He was reading books on bondage, so he goes to visit this bondage mistress in New Zealand. And I was just like, how the hell is this happening for the third time?
Can we start a different channel to totally this is awesome.
Oh, like when I look back, honestly, it is just so damn funny. It wasn't funny at the time.
No, but yeah, no, I also I totally get why I like you so much. I'm like, this is it. That's why Agnes is the bomb. Hello. Anyway.
So that kind of hit me 3 times. The third one I was married to when he went off to New Zealand to do his bondage thing. So obviously that kind of ended the marriage.
Well,
then my fourth partner, by now I'm in my, I think, 30s, if I remember correctly. And, we dated for a while, and then I went overseas, and then I came back and I found these really long black socks in the bedroom. And I thought, well, they're definitely not his. So I knew something was going on. And then partner number 5, each relationship was 4 to 5 years. So there was quite a lot of invested. Partner number 5, he told me he was going overseas to have a holiday with his family, and he sent me an email, and I thought we were still together, but he decided to tell me that he'd got married and his wife was pregnant. Well, and when he left, we were still.
Excuse me? He went on vacation and ended up married.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's time off well spent. I mean, wow.
So,
okay.
You kind of at some point go, hang on, common denominator
hang on.
me.
Yeah, hang on a minute. Yeah, wait up. Something's holding, as they might say here in American football, like throw a flag out on the play. We got to stop stop this right now.
So it wasn't a spiritual awakening. It was a total leveling of every single time thinking that I had this one. I've got this one right. And then it was like, okay. And I was reading Neville throughout. Well, from the third one, my husband, I was reading
They're
Neville.
long books.
Yeah, they're long books, thank God, because they saved. Honestly, I was reading all through the night sometimes because there was so much agony about how did I end up here? And,
Right.
I didn't know then about projection. I knew about law of attraction, and I knew that I had a lot of fear and stuff about, I'm second best, and how am I going to, this is too good to be true, and no one's really going to love me. So, I just manifested an exact photocopy of what I was putting out.
Wait.
So,
Ka-chunk,
yeah.
ka-chunk?
Ka-chung, ka-chung.
I was just wondering. I thought that was appropriate.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's how I got into all of this. It started when I was probably in my 20s, and I got a tumor then, and I thought, right, I'm going to use Louise Hay because my mum was into Louise Hay. So I was reading her, and I cured myself of this tumor in 6 weeks.
Wow.
So it was like, but no surprise, with all the relationship stress and absolute drama and chaos, my health, of course, got smashed by all that stuff. So, but now it's good for a laugh, and I don't, I can see everything was me pushed out. There's not this thing of needing, and this is another point that people often say, how am I going to forgive them for that? You don't have to forgive them. You've got to forgive you.
Yes.
Because you didn't know any better. You didn't understand. You projected it.
That's one of the weird parts of the 12 steps I don't know if I ever agreed with, where you've got to like bring everybody else into it. It's like, really it's you. Like you got to forgive yourself.
Really it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself. Yeah. Let yourself be an idiot or whatever you were. Let it go. And that's, I think,
and I agree with
important.
you, Dan. I left 12-step fellowships I went for 20 years, and I left a long time ago because I don't believe I'm powerless over others, and I don't believe I'm powerless if I actually apply and use my own mind. And the first step in all the programs is I'm powerless over something. And I personally don't agree with that. Amen. I know the law of projection. I know the law of attraction, and I know that these laws, projecting them out, using them consciously, you can influence people to help them, heal an injury, or that you hated them and they treated you badly, and you project love and then it influences them to treat you better. All this stuff. I'm not powerless if I'm able to do that. So I had to leave 12-step fellowships because of that very reason.
I agree. They were very structured.
It has its place.
Yeah, well, it does. And that's the thing, is everyone's in the location that they're at. They're coming from this from where they're ready. And I think you and I are trying to paint with a broad brush, as far as we want to make sure we're not limiting people, and we're certainly using words that people can get behind and be comfortable with. But I mean, a lot of this, like you've said, you work through these patterns that we've had in our lives, and again, you and I are coming from places that I'm the same way. I mean, a lot of mistakes, a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of, okay, so I've tried all the things that don't work, like now let's try something different,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing.
And when you get hammered by something, repeatedly, you cannot escape that it's you. Like you can't keep saying, I just picked the wrong people. Like I finally understood projecting I'm second best and I'm not good enough has created me dating the same man in lots of different versions, know. Right. So I really I couldn't escape myself anymore. And it took till I was, I just turned 50 not long ago. So it took till my 40s to get it.
Let me ask you this, because I think you're hitting, I think, part 3, basically. But this, I think, is an enormously important part when we realize that we've been seeking the same thing over and over and over, and it finally dawns on us, and we finally decide to make that different change. I mean, for me, it was always kind of, and I talk about kind of the spiral, where it's the difference between focusing on what I currently don't have, right? Or oftentimes focusing on what I do have, what is actually working for me, what is going well.
Yeah.
And what wave can I ride on right now? And if I'm having maybe a hard time with self-esteem or my self-love, to go back to that a little bid. So what was it that caused you, and how did you shift your thinking? I mean, obviously that had to have occurred, right? I mean, how'd that go with you?
Well, I spent a lot of time doing 3 to 4 hours a day of sitting in meditation, and like I'd come home and I'd be devastated about the last breakup or something, and I'd be laying down in my room feeling, you know, like a big victim. And I thought, okay, if I understand, and then I just started studying the mechanics of, you know, people that get those dramatic, bone crushing situations in relationship, they have repeated habitual thought patterns. Now I had to look at what are mine. So mine was my top two, I'm second best and I'm always going to be left and I'm not good enough. Top three. So I thought, okay, so if that's what I've got to learn to be first best in my own head. I've got to learn to be, I am good enough. And I've got to learn that, what was the other one? I've forgotten what the other one is.
I wasn't writing them down either. I feel horrible.
I'm second best is I'm first best. I'm not good enough is I am good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be left is people hang around.
There you go.
So I just thought, that's all it is. And Neville talks a lot about I am statements. Anything you put after I am is what you become.
Well, it's supposedly the most profound way we can state ourselves. I mean, the power.
Yeah.
Some say we were made in his image and likeness. And I think that's actually the quote they refer to as the I am part of that whole
yes.
concept. So invoking.
So when you know, okay, how do I change from what I don't want to what I want? You just put an I am statement in place and then you hammer it out until it becomes your dominant thought.
So let's back it up a hair, because then maybe this is the right way for me to answer this question or ask this question. When did you realize that your thoughts, your imagination, your energy, your whatever had power over your reality? That actually was a factor in what you were experiencing. When did that? Was there something that caused that to dawn on you?
Well, I think it was in every relationship that I had. I was getting better at it, but then my fears would take over and smash me. The fears would win,
So you knew that already. You knew.
I knew it probably at relationship number 3, which was the marriage. 3 out of 5.
Not bad.
Of the 5,
You're knew then.
It. Yeah. So I was getting better, but then my fears would still kick my ass, and then it was like, okay, let's do the self-love again. Let's work on it again. Because I still, at the back of my head, thought my fears are going to win. I still couldn't let that go. That's why I recreated that 5 times. So it's like it's layers upon layers upon layers of fears that you're dealing with. And for me, the fears were like terror. They were a terror for me. It was like, no matter what I do, no matter how much law of attraction I do, no matter what I understand, I will never get rid of this one.
It's always in the back of your mind, right? Yeah, like screaming at you, like, this is this, you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. And I think where a lot of the people that, you get the messages in your comments section, and I think a lot of these situations have to do with people that are still working through these changes and these transitions and understanding the parts of themselves that still need to develop and grow. I mean, I don't think we're just stagnant creatures that are supposed to be able to just manifest all the way through life. There's this odd component to it called growth and development and all, like where we change and become better people, believe it or not, or worse, maybe, but I think most of us get better. So
and then sometimes you slip back a bit and you get hammered in the head again. And I thought, geez, not this again.
I've been very fortunate in life where anytime I've ever thought too highly of myself, life was very kind to remind me that horse I do not belong on. Like, it just knocked me the hell off it. No worries, mate. Just done.
Exactly.
So humble is for me the safest way to go. Kills me. Yeah. In a great way, So again, I've been in the same boat as you. I want people to understand that are listening that that's part of this development as well. And why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Especially when it comes to a specific someone. There's some very key elements that we're talking about here that we need to look at them. Am I being controlling? Am I not being true to myself? Man, I've lost myself. That's what I typically do is I'm yes dear, and whatever. And I forget that I actually have things that I enjoy and like and used to do.
Yeah.
So,
and that's really a common mistake so many of us make. And I think as you do it in one relationship, and then as soon as the relationship ends, you go, oh my God, I haven't done that for ages, and I haven't done that. And then you rebuild your life, then you meet another person, and then you slide back.
Because it's fun to do it. You know, I enjoy that rebuilding my life over and over.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Challenge.
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, it was too easy. I got it. I got this. I'm gonna do this a few times.
Dan? Yeah. This time around, you know, being with somebody, you know,
who's
for
wonderful
a while now.
and awesome.
and isn't the total center of everything I do, as you know, because I go between Sydney and London. I thought, okay, this time around, because I have lots of time to myself where we're not together, where I'm actually in another country, or whether we are in the same country, I still go to bed. I do the same thing, whether he's there or not. And there are times where, you know, he's watching TV next to me and I'll put my headphones in. I say, look, I'm going to listen to a meditation. I just do my I love yous to myself. So then I'm a much better person to be with.
That's a win-win, right?
Yeah, it is. Because it's like I'm a much better, I don't need you to make me feel better person. I'm not saying I'm perfect. There are times where I go, oh, you know, what do I do with this? And he looks at me like, what you always do. And it's like, oh, how did I go back to that? So you still have your moments of, you know, like you say, you get humbled again. And I think, but hey, I know where to go. I do this daily. I don't forget to do it because I know when I forget, this is like black belt manifesting, keeping my chops up. I do this every day because I know where I've ended up by not doing it. It has smashed my whole world apart, and I will not go back there. I'm quite happy to do 3 hours a day.
Well, there you go. We are a couple of organic crazy nuts, no question about it. But Agnes and I do definitely have fun when we get together. We're going to be going out with Bill Withers doing a very, very popular song that everybody should know, Just the Two of Us. That's what a couple of organic nuts would sing about. If you'd like to contact me, please do so at danradiostyle@gmail.com, or, of course, feel free to leave comments in the comment section, because that's always fun, too. And I usually try to reply to those. It depends how things get. Might get busy, but I always try to get in there and check them out and try to do all that stuff. So Bill Withers coming out with that.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Sky, just the two of us, you and I. We look for love, no time for tears. Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make no flowers grow.